Welcome back to our weekly market review brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. As per usual, it feels like it's been a while, Andre, but as currency strategist at Treasury One, Andre Cilliers. And yet, it's been a while since we spoke, but not a lot of things have changed, right? The Hormuz Strait has now been closed for nearly 170 days. And, given its strategic importance to global oil flows, there's been a lot of debate about, we haven't really seen an elevated remaining high levels of oil price. It's roughly between $88 and $90 per Brent per barrel for Brent, but it hasn't really peaked beyond the $100 mark and remained at those levels. And then obviously there's a couple of reasons for that. We saw a lot of domestic drawdown happening in the US and China and so forth. But there's also been a growing use of the shadow fleet has been growing. We're seeing a lot of Gulf states trying to get workaround strategies with pipelines to kind of avoid the Hormuz situation. But surely this is not a strategy that can continue into perpetuity, right? At some point, these strategies and plans are gonna get run into some constraints, and then the question obviously becomes what's going to happen to oil prices. So we need this strait open. The question, of course, that everyone wants to know is how that is going to happen.
Good morning. We need the strait open, yes, but we must also keep in mind that the longer you block me from doing something, the harder I will work at finding an alternative way of doing something. Now, it's been a couple of months, and that's exactly what is kind of happening. Gulf states, Middle East is looking at alternatives. How can we circumvent and reinvent the wheel in getting a bypass for the Strait of Hormuz? Block it too long, and they will be successful. And the Strait of Hormuz will just be another avenue that you can use if it is available. It might come at a price, yes, but also that will be accommodated by people. It will work its way through inflation figures and monetary policy and the effects on that and everything, and life will carry on with a new normal. A new normal, we must remember, is a nice term that was developed after COVID, that we became used to certain things and then we called it the new normal. We must be careful that, and the people controlling things must be careful that people don't get used to a new normal and make whatever they do and whatever they try and control sort of negate that to meaning nothing. And I'm concerned that that could very well be the case, and that's why we are not seeing the $120s and the $110 prices per barrel, but relatively calmly around the high 80s and sticking there regardless of the news coming out at this point.
No, I think we've mentioned it before. Even if this war ends today, the energy landscape and corridors that will have changed forever. There are things being put in place that can't be reversed. I mean, we see specifically energy contracts from the US with the EU. Those aren't things that can just come to an end all of a sudden when the strait is going to be open. So I think the energy landscape following this conflict is going to look completely different, and everyone's going to start diversifying, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out for markets. But you also mentioned, this is obviously adding to inflationary pressures, and it came at a time when central banks were all gearing up to move into rate cut cycles. Everyone was waiting for this pivot moment, and then we had to pivot again. And now we not only have higher rates for longer, we, in some instances, have higher rate expectations as the oil price starts placing new, fresh inflationary pressures in various countries. And South Africa is no exception. So we have our latest inflation data coming out on Wednesday. What are we kind of expecting for this reading?
That's a really tricky question today. because it could surprise. We've seen the last 2 rounds significant increases, but that was to be expected with fuel prices that shot up to very high levels and works its way through to the logistical sector, and in that, works its way through to food prices and so forth. And let's not forget that came at a time where there was a foot and mouth disease as well that had an impact on food prices, especially meat prices. But we've also gone through a period where there was extensive floods, which also worked its way through agricultural sector and food prices. Now, most of those things are out at this point in time. The prices of fuel did come down a little bit, so that could take some of the wind in the sails of inflation away, and make that a little bit more positive this month. So we might see a slight decline, or at least coming out more or less at the same levels is what I expect. I don't expect a massive downturn or anything, but I at least expect to show that the pressure is not so strong in an upward move at this point in time. And then that might kind of justify what the central bank did when they didn't increase interest rates at the last monetary policy meeting. But if we see inflation coming out at higher levels, there's going to be a lot of critics, especially going back to that interest rate increase that did not happen. And the speculation will then be very rife as to more than one interest rate increase that will be necessary at future meetings to address us falling behind the curve.
Yeah, I think the SARB's last interest rate decision just didn't sit well. It didn't sit well with what we're used to from the SARB and Kganyago and his team. And I think you're right. I think they're going to be looking at this thinking, let the data at least support our decision that we made. Otherwise, like you said, there's going to be several critics. But, given the geopolitical situation that we've been speaking about, the one commodity always enjoying some upheaval is the price of gold, for the most part, at least. And that is several benefits for South Africa, because that intends to improve our terms of trade, and that gives support to the rand as well. So is that something that we've been seeing supporting the rand in recent weeks? And you can also just take us what we're kind of expecting for the week ahead for our currency.
Well, with what is expected, if you look at the American situation in terms of inflation, their inflation, and I've done and had a little bit of a look at that one, directly after the war started. So for March, April, and May, their month-on-month inflation was really high. One of the months was 0.9%. So now that takes a while for that to fall out of the base effect, what they always refer to. So that's a couple of months away. But at this point in time, their month on month doesn't really look too bad, and it doesn't look as if there's a massive increase in inflation. And if that's the case and it stays there on the month on month, I think more and more focus will go through by the Fed rather on what is happening with unemployment and jobs data and so forth, because that's one of the things that they look at. And that will drive a narrative of keep your interest rates at these elevated levels or higher levels for a little bit longer without actually increasing it. If that's the case, we could see gold getting a little bit more of the wind behind its sails, and even elevate to slightly higher levels. At the same time, then dragging some of the other commodities also to higher levels, and that would definitely be then positive for the rand, further positiveness for our trade of terms. And obviously, definitely, if they do well on the commodity side, the mining houses, then definitely a windfall for Mr. Godongwana on the tax revenue side. So that could positively impact then further on a positiveness of the rand. And technically, we are looking that we could possibly move towards slightly below the 16 levels, but we'll see. But at this point in time, I'd rather stick to a trading range of, call it 16 to 16.50.
And that with the inflation data possibly being a catalyst if it surprises, especially I think upwards. I think that is going to remain range bound. But Andre, thank you very much. If we chat again next week, who knows, maybe a new memorandum of understanding will be put in place. It feels like that changes weekly, but let's hope for the best. But Andre, thank you very much for your insights, and then we will chat again next week.
Thank you very much.